He's not a bat, he's a man who fights crime. And we're gonna watch him fight for a minute at a time. With John and Niall and a guest who doesn't rhyme. It's Bat Minute! Attention, citizens of Gotham, and welcome once again to Bat Minute and Robin, the show that sizes up Joel Schumacher's masterpiece 1 minute at a time. I am one of your hosts, John Parker.
And suit me up, John. It's me, Niall McGowan.
That sounds a little intimate. It sounds very
Well, it's
close.
putting clothes on rather than taking them off. So
I find that very sensual.
Yeah.
Like zipping someone up is just as good as unzipping.
There is a whole big weird thing, considering the outfit that her uncle is giving her. And how tight it is, it's unpleasant already. So
Yeah. We'll get to that. We are joined by a returning guest, not from the other day, but from previous seasons. Can you please welcome everybody, the one, the only, Molly Plissken.
Yay! I'm happy to be back.
yeah,
Is this every season? Or
yeah,
Yes.
I'm pretty sure
Yes.
it's every season.
Yeah, you are incredibly patient individuals.
So remember, first year was Bell Tower stuff.
Yes.
Second year was the Catwoman and Catwoman killing Max Shrek, basically. All the 4 or 5 still alive, all that stuff.
yeah.
Third year was I can't remember third year now. What did you do last year?
This was the kiss, I thought.
Kiss from a rose?
Not kiss from a rose. Now I'm trying to. I thought don't they have like a shared kind of kiss thing? Well, no, wait. Was this the bedroom? I think this was the bedroom scene, wasn't it?
Oh, okay.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Was it like the goofy bat smile? and all that
Yes,
business?
goofy bat
Oh, there you
smile.
go.
Yes,
There you are.
no, I'm getting confused with Catwoman kisses. But yeah, this was the bedroom scene.
See, last season both feels like 10 seconds ago and 10 years ago.
Mm.
It's weird.
It was.
It's really weird.
It was just the 2020 season, where it's like it all happened that year.
Oh my god.
Everything was everywhere all the time.
But I tell you what, it helped us get through, and I hope it helped you, listeners.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And we're here to help you through minute 97. The minute starts with a digital hellscape, and it ends with a leafy wonderland.
This is the sort of big moment in that it's kind of essentially our introduction to Batgirl, who is much beloved character, but perhaps not this iteration of her.
Sadly not. I mean, we've touched on this. It's mostly the writing, right?
Yeah.
It's nothing wrong with what she's doing, really.
Should ask though, Molly, because obviously Batman Robin's a very divisive movie.
Yes.
Like, where do you stand with this? Are you like, oh yeah, camp fun, or are you like, oh god, no, it's utter trash?
You know, I have a whole thesis around it, and I'll see if I can be brief. My answer to that when it first came out, so it's 1997, you're 2 years off of Batman Forever, you have this whole context of the previous 3 movies, and then this comes out. And so I think it's very natural that people were like, ooh, good God, what is this? But if you really look at the movie, there are many, 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 many intentional choices. And I think they just really missed an opportunity. This, if they just would have made it a little weird, this could have been the best cult movie of the last 50 years.
I mean, that's a good point, yeah. I think as far as they've gone, maybe they could have gone even further.
Oh, definitely could have gone further. Like I think we've had several instances where we're like, well, the amount of jokes that they missed, the amount of ways you could have just went absolutely bat crazy with this.
Well, this is the one that is known for being over the top. But yeah, I think maybe that's the problem. Is it's like 70% of the way there. It's like, no, push it.
And the rest of it, most of other people would want to put the movie in that little trash bin just right next to Alfred on the computer screen.
Oh, no.
I think it's just a very indignant thing. They're like, okay, so he's, obviously a sentient AI now or whatever. But just seeing, like, trying to appear dignified in his butler outfit, but then just having his little trash can next to him.
Well, Alfred's philosophy is when I'm dead, throw me in the trash.
Just hanging around with Oswald Cobblepot way too much.
This is scary to me. This is like Lawnmower Man, kind of. Like, this virtual simulation of Alfred, essentially trapping his consciousness in this cyber hell for all eternity.
It's gone for the Lawnmower Man graphics at the end of that movie, where it's just like, it's a full-on early 90s CGI nightmare.
Hell yes. Now I want Pierce Brosnan to play Alfred.
Ooh.
Oh. That's actually not a bad shot, really.
Legit.
I think that could work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although Pierce Brosnan, he's got a way about him where he could almost still play like an old Batman. He's like, he's still good. He's still good,
He still looks awesome. Yeah. He could go back to Bond today, and I'd be like, cool.
Yeah. I do kind of want now there to have been a Batman 5 where sentient the lawnmower manservant of Alfred goes crazy. He's like, I've got 1 billion calls to make. He's just doing all that. I don't know how familiar people are with the end of the Lawnmower Man, but I'm very familiar with it.
I am. That's the bit I know the most.
Yeah, it's the most visual. It's that and the random CGI sex scene in the middle of it.
Isn't there some sort of CGI explosion? Like there's like a fight where they're in virtual at the very end. Isn't that the...
Oh yeah, the whole climax. Yeah. The whole climax doesn't make any... If people don't know what the Lawnmower Man is about, it's basically that Pierce Brosnan is a scientist who makes his Lawnmower Man, who is mentally differently abled. He makes him super intelligent with the use of virtual reality, but it goes too far, and the guy starts becoming like telekinetic and stuff, and he becomes super intelligent, where basically world domination is the only possible goal for him. When you become that smart, you're like, I might as well take over the world, I guess.
Well, yeah, because people are doing a bad job of running it themselves.
Yeah, and at the end, there's a whole bit where they go in, and for in the early 90s, it would have been like cutting edge CGI, but by like 1993, it would have been the most dated thing in the universe. Yeah. And Pierce Brosnan and him fight in virtual reality. He crucifies Pierce Brosnan at one point, and yeah, when he's outside virtual reality, he also is able to do virtual reality crimes. Like, he can turn people into, like, CGI bubbles. Or, like, cause them
that. It's affecting the real world. It's almost like the end of the Matrix.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it just doesn't make any sense, though. Where you're like, oh, I understand how you can do this, and I understand how you can be telekinetic, maybe. But how is he able to, like, turn people into, like, CGI bees and stuff?
It's the mystery of the intelligence and the digital world.
Yeah. It does have my favorite, like one of my all-time favorite ending scenes, which is like weird because the rest of the movie's not great, but like early on he says, you'll know I've achieved like omnipresence throughout the early internet, but I'm going to make every telephone in the world ring at exactly the same time. And at the end of the movie you think like, oh no, Job's dead. Job's the Lawnmower Man. It's like, yeah, we got rid of him. That's all, that's great. And then as Pierce Brosnan's leaving a room, his phone starts to go, and then the neighbor's phone starts to go, and it goes throughout the entire city, and then the entire world, the phone is ringing. It's like, it just cuts to black.
That's cool ending.
That's a great ending right there.
Yeah,
but anyway,
never properly followed up on, though. Because there is another one, isn't there?
Yeah.
It's...
The other one is not worth mentioning, unfortunately.
I was trying to find a polite way to say it, but yeah, it's terrible.
First, the next one, though, stars Matt Frewer, who, of course, is Max Headroom, which is also kind of what they're going for with this Alfred here, because he's doing even like the little Max Headroom glitchy talk thing.
Well, that's the thing, right? That creeps me out more. That's more terrifying. Because, he goes, virtual simulation. Like, why is it so glitchy? That scares me. Alfred's consciousness is broken with this thing. Max Headroom doing it, you're like, oh, it's just a weird little quirk. This is supposed to be like a nice moment, and it doesn't work properly. He's damaged.
Was it a thing just to convey that he's technological? They thought people would be confused if he didn't glitch?
Yeah, probably that, isn't it?
It makes it seem like, or maybe, I don't know, like we're all early... Not even early 90s. This is like late 90s now, 97, where all computers just inherently a little bit glitchy. You couldn't watch
none of them were.
you couldn't watch a real-time player video without something going.
I mean, yeah, fair enough. God, yeah, that's taking me back.
Oh.
Real player.
Before the dawn of QuickTime.
Yeah. Oh, now I feel old. I'm just going to load up Winamp and listen to some files.
As people can hear them just gently coming through John's headphones now. Just doesn't speak for the rest of the episode. Oh.
Yeah, they'd probably be thankful if I didn't speak.
No. But one other thing, though, I did note in this close-up of Alfred, because we noted there's so many different Robin symbols throughout, where he has, like, he had the R, then he had, like, the Nightwing kind of thing, and then we noticed, there's a whole bunch of different bat symbols. Like, they can't settle on what the bat symbol is. Like, so the one on the suit is different from the one in the cave. And now the one on the computer screen is also a slightly different Batman symbol. As if this was all just a hodgepodge of, like, we don't know what it's going to look like exactly, but we're just filming with what we have at the minute.
Well, plus Alfred's clearly had to design that logo himself bespoke.
Yeah.
So, he's done the best he can.
I can verify, too, that, like, doing it by hand is exceptionally difficult. Like, I don't know, Molly, if you've ever tried to draw the bat symbol freehand. But it is like one side will be inherently bigger than the other every single time.
Oh, it's terrible. Yeah, I think you really need to have some kind of, plastic curves to really, work it out.
Yeah. So I don't know if Alfred's just like, I'm just trying to make it simpler for myself. And just every time he's like doing slightly different symbols. Like, no, it still doesn't look quite right. It's later on this very minute, actually. Not to jump too far ahead, but like when it gets to, you see like the Robin signal, on top of that floodlight. Poison Ivy having to do that. I'm assuming maybe she made Bane do it or something. But, like, that would have been so much effort to actually, like, try to get, like, a stencil in order to cut out that plastic. And, like, Bruce Wayne would have the resources, so like, I guess he could make the bat signal okay. But, like, Poison Ivy having to do that, freehand? Or, like, can you buy giant stencils of the Robin signal? Or the Robin symbol, like in the local corner shops now, or what's?
That would be amazing. Yeah, she pops in disguise. She got a fake mustache on, like, "Hello, I would like to purchase this Robin logo, please."
Or Bane had to do it, and then it would be like
Robin.
Yeah, but even just imagine them having to do it freehand too. It's like, all right, Bane, darling. No, one side's too big, damn it.
I was really appreciative
and then
of
you
that.
try and even it out.
Just the efficiency of them sitting down together and going to like the Hobby Lobby and getting all the supplies. And, I like to think that they were collaborating together to make the light. And then I feel kind of bad because, Bruce has got all these resources and it just takes them, going to like the local craft shop and just sitting down and just having a really sweet moment of, maybe having some cocoa and making this light. And Bruce just doesn't give a shit,
Yeah, it was an all-nighter.
Imagine them doing that, though, and then Mr. Freeze in the next room by himself. Just, my bad. I would have actually appreciated more, though, if they just smeared it on with paint. Like, to actually make it look haphazard, and there's like, yep, it's kind of a Robin symbol, that's fine, yeah.
Oh, that would be way better.
They really would have, or spray paint it.
Yeah. They did a really good job, considering, because they actually get, like, they've stolen the actual bat signal. They didn't just get a floodlight.
They picked it up.
And then they would have had to peel off the bat symbol on it. So then, particularly too, if you ever take a sticker off stuff, there's going to be glue residue.
Oh, cleaning that all night long as well. Jeez.
Yeah, so Bane would probably have to be in there with one of those little, like the razor blade chisel things. And just
like, scrape.
In many ways, you think they should have done like the symbol for this movie. It should have been the bat symbol and then the Robin symbol splattered on top of it. But then I guess that would have been like confused, mixed messages. Then it's like, do you want both of us over there now?
Yeah, Batman's like, should I come? Like, what's the deal?
Really, what they should actually do is like, do it this way, and then in the last bit where it's like, the three of them running towards the camera, a la the end of Batman Forever, it should have been the Robin symbols on top of it is the symbol of the movie now. It is the two of them together, because then it's like, yeah, now they're a proper team. He's on the symbol too, so yeah, that's nice, right? Oh, then I guess Batgirl's with them at that point. Like, so we have to add her symbol now too? Oh, god damn it.
We've already just designed this one.
Like, Alfred, why do you have to keep, friggin' making new sidekicks for me, man? I ain't got room in my signal anymore.
I took the liberty of coming up with an Alfred logo. This rather fetching A.
Yeah, that's just for around the house, though.
Yeah. Puts it on the mops and things. Maybe if you make a spillage, you just shine the Alfred symbol into the sky out the window. He's like, oh, coming.
That's the thing, though, because he has this, like, Barbara's just kind of stumbled into the Batcave here now, and instantly, it's just like, well, you know, I've took the liberty of creating a suit for you. It's like, does he have suits prepared for everybody who might come into the Batcave? Like,
delivery men and everything.
Yeah, Commissioner Gordon comes in. It's like, I took the liberty of making a suit in your size.
I just really enjoy measuring people up with my eyes.
This Gordon's outfit would be like a rubber skin-tight policeman's uniform with nipples.
Oh, God.
Especially like the nipples.
Panhandle squeezed in there. Like, oh, no, I think I'm okay with just being the commissioner, you know.
I love, before we get right into that, I love how on board Barbara is with all of this. Like, she instantly just starts talking to this digital Alfred like it's the most normal thing in the world. Because cast your mind back, this is a world before the wonders of Alexa. So this would be mind-blowing. Like, what the hell?
Although she is a computer science major, maybe she's already had run-ins with sentient AI.
Oh yeah, because they were all the rage in the 90s. Yeah. And they really worked well, didn't they?
Or she saw the Lawnmower Man, and she's like, okay. And then she just picks up a chair and throws it at the screen like, not today, evil Alfred. Unplug all the phones, quick.
That should be the last shot of this movie. It cuts back to digital Alfred, and his eyes just glow red. Oh.
Teams up with the dog from the opening of Goosebumps.
Hell yes.
I kind of think I was just one other people who could have wandered into the Batcave to get like Gossip Gertie's over doing a story and Bruce Wayne wanders in. Well, you know, Alfred, I've always wanted to help Batman and Robin. I thought you might miss Gertie.
Yeah, Digifred has sort of planned this well ahead of time, hasn't he? He's a sly fox. He must, like we've been saying all along, we know for a fact he's pushing her into doing it, but this is another level of pushing her. This is like, I have literally designed you everything you need because I know you're going to do it.
But in the novelization, too, it almost has a kind of slightly sinister tone where she comes in and she's like looking at everything that's happening on the screens of like, in terms of what Batman and Robin are up to. And she's like, oh, the boys need help. And then like all these machines start whirring. And she's like, what's that? And he's like, I'm getting your measurements, basically. Like he's saying, I'm going to turn you into Batgirl now. Not her going, I want to be a Batgirl. He's like, you discovered the cave, so now you got to do the sentence of being, you can either die or be a sidekick. That's the only two choices now.
Well, yeah, freedom of choice. There are your two options. Which one do you want? You know, the draft has a slightly different take on it, which harkens back, I think, to the original movie, to 89. Ooh. Because Alfred in that one, in the draft, says, forgive my being personal, dear. Forgive my being personal, dear girl, but I must know your size. It's like, you don't ask someone that.
Coming out then and just like, well, you weigh a little more than 108.
Well, that's what I thought. Yeah, it made me think about that bit. Which,
of course, though, that does have legitimate negative connotations over what happened to Alicia Silverstone when they were making the movie, too. So,
yeah. Considering what we know about the media backlash, probably best not to have that in here. Like, do you know about that, Molly? Do you remember?
Yeah. I don't remember that happening at the time, but I think that this kind of goes back to my earlier point of them just being cowards. I'm like, get me some chunky Alicia. Seriously. You know, like, I just honor that. That's totally okay.
Yeah.
But, you know, the 90s, it was all the rage to be a twig.
No, that's true. That's really true.
She's not even big. Not that would matter anyway. But, you know, the 90s.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but, you know, I didn't know what minutes I was getting, and I was just so delighted because even though it's not at the start, because we get Alfred here, the shot of, like, the ass suiting up is actually the thumbnail. So when I brought up this, I was like, woo!
What have they sent me here? Is this the right movie?
That's the thing, because in theory, that should be the thumbnail for the episode as well. But I would feel weird us just putting up, Alicia Silver's on his ass. That's the cover of the episode.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah. You don't want to anger people. Just do a chest instead.
Yeah. Like we did it for Val Kilmer's butt. I was just like, it's symmetry. Like we did it for Val's ass. So we have to do it for Batgirl's ass as well. I was like, no, you can't do that.
Something I find really weird about the suit, because she says, "Suit me up, Uncle Alfred," which I think is quite a cool line, even though he's not suiting her up. He's a robot.
Unless he has robot arms come out.
Okay, that would be cool. But the thing I find weird is it's got like a thong.
Oh my lord!
Why a thong?
I mean, it's the 90s. I don't know if that was just the way it worked, but
Maybe.
I've looked into the highest of fashions, miss, and I know that a thong is what the girls are all wearing these days.
It is odd because the men are sexualized in a different way. I think like the men aren't wearing, I don't know, like a leather jock strap or something, you know.
But they do have the cod piece, though.
It's a cod piece, but this feels different. This almost has a lingerie kind of quality to it, which I found a little peculiar, but maybe that's just me. But the boots are good, and I've got a pair just like that. I wore them weirdly to be Catwoman.
No,
multi-purpose now. You can update the costume to be Barbara Wilson Batgirl.
They look very like my boots. That's peculiar.
Yeah. What do you have any strong feelings on the character of Batgirl in general, though, Molly? Like, is it a character you've always liked, or are you fairly? I know a lot of people are just like, it's Batman or nothing.
No, funny. I've always thought that, again, theme of missed opportunities, that they could have just done more. Well, especially in this particular movie, it's a little bit tragic that she's not on, and, we have to wait, 97 minutes basically before she does anything. And arguably she doesn't do a whole ton, in the movie itself. But in general, the concept of Batgirl, I've always really liked. I always liked that they had, and I know that kind of changes with, the being Selena Kyle and Batman's daughter. There's a, that kind of, I think, concept, even though it's like different characters, I think that concept gets carried on later on. But I just, I kind of like the idea of having a kick-ass bat chick, I just wish they would have done a little more with her.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if there had been a fifth film, maybe.
Yeah, right.
But,
I assume that was the plan, because they've established now it's a team.
Yeah.
You've got the three of them. You could do spin-offs. You could do all kinds of stuff. But, yeah.
That's the thing, too, because this minute does, through her dialogue, as simplistic as it kind of is. Like, it's very much like just kid movie fare. Where, like, because she, actually, think of what we have on screen. She doesn't know what's actually happening out in the world. Like, she doesn't know that, Dick Grayson's been lured into Poison Ivy's lair. She doesn't know that Mr. Freeze is planning to freeze the city. She's been busy with other stuff. So she comes down and is like, I'd like to help Batman and Robin. And then going out and been like, oh, I thought I was just going to like punch some muggers in the face. I didn't realize it was like a whole friggin' thing where I have to stop like a super freeze cannon and stuff like that.
People with crazy powers. What's this? Living plants like the Strangle Me.
Does he have a flight of plant lady? I didn't know about that. But in her dialogue, though, of her just saying like, I'd like to help Batman and Robin is essentially Batgirl's whole thesis. Like, one of the most positive things about her as a character is that she is just like a really good person. She doesn't have a tragic backstory. They added in obviously later with Oracle, like adds a lot to her. But like at the beginning, Barbara Gordon was just like, yeah, I just want to be a superhero. Like I think I'll be, Dick Grayson obviously he has his tragedy that kind of leads to him becoming even like Peter Parker Spider-Man. It's the guilt and with great power comes great responsibility. But she just, like, Barbara Gordon just sees an opportunity, and she takes it. Like, she's like, all right, I'm going to become a hero and help people out and stuff, because I think it's the right thing to do.
Inspirational.
And, when we read the original comic where she comes from, the $1 million debut of Batgirl, which, as we noted way, way back when, was designed to coincide with her introduction in the 60s TV show. It was corporate synergy. At its finest, or most cynical, depending on your point of view of that kind of thing. And the whole story is like it opens with Barbara Gordon, commissioner's daughter. Like she thinks everyone thinks I'm so much of a plain Jane, which is weird because she's drawn to be like stunning. And then you're like, plain Jane. And it emphasizes too that like she's got a PhD, she's got a brown belt in judo, all this stuff. She also, in those opening panels, and I was very baffled to see, has Princess Leia hair. Like the Princess Leia buns. And this is coming out in 1966, so I was like, that's Princess Leia hair. Was that an actual hairdo that people had?
Apparently not. Didn't George Lucas base that on... There was some kind of like... where are they from? I'm going to have to look it up.
Unless I based it on the $1 Million debut of Batgirl, but honestly, if you go look up that issue, any shots of Barbara Gordon, it's like, yeah, she's got the exact, like, A New Hope haircut going on. It's weird.
Right, here we go. Lucas said, I went with a kind of southwestern Pancho Villa woman revolutionary look, which is what that is. The buns are from turn of the century Mexico.
Ah. Oh, maybe, I don't know, Barbara Gordon, maybe she's like, yeah, I'm a fan of turn of the century Mexico, so...
But then this article from the BBC says, revolutionaries in Mexico did not actually wear this hairstyle. Okay, so he's talking.
So Barbara Gordon's like, well, I'm not a fan of turn of the century Mexico.
Here we go. The Hopi women in Arizona had very similar hair. It's a slightly different shape, but it's very similar. So they actually think he means that, and he's just stupid.
But she has this haircut anyway, and. Yes, she's going to the policeman's ball. And because at this point, Batman's like really popular with people, she's making herself a Batgirl costume. And I do love as well in, because they obviously retold the story several times throughout, like, various continuities. In the Chuck Dixon Batgirl Year 1, they add in a whole element where Barbara really wants to be a police officer, but her dad is just like, no. Not a goddamn chance in hell. My little girl, who's a friggin' PhD, is going to become a beat cop. Like, that's just not going to happen. But there's a scene where she goes in to buy a Batman costume for the ball to kind of piss off her dad. And because at this point, Batman's like an urban legend. So the Batman costumes are like these huge, monstrous, horrible things. And she's just like, is this what Batman looks like? And the store clerk's just like, I don't know. Like, no one's really seen him. I don't know what he looks like. But I just like that as an element of like, there's people selling Batman costumes who have never actually seen him because he's just like this shadowy figure up on the rooftops.
No, I love that. I think Batman should always be a bit mysterious to the public.
Yeah.
I don't think there should be photos of him. Of course, these days that's hard to get around. Everyone has a phone camera.
Yeah. But yeah, so back in the 60s, Barbara makes herself a Batgirl costume, and on the way to the party, she observes Killer Moth, who is a bad guy who dresses up like a moth, and hence his name is Killer Moth.
Original.
He looks really stupid. He's like, not only is he dressed as a moth, he's wearing like rainbow colors and stuff too.
Is he one of those moths that's like pink and yellow and stuff?
No, he's like green and purple and orange and stuff.
Oh.
But
he's like a gay pride moth.
Not enough though. But he does have a goo gun. Where it's supposed to cocoon people, but it's just like a goo gun. And you can't say goo gun to make it sound serious either.
Yeah, that never sounds cool, does it? The goo gun.
Yeah. But he's attempting to abduct Bruce Wayne. And Barbara actually intervenes, dressed as Batgirl. And then obviously Bruce Wayne sneaks off, becomes Batman, and they both end up chasing off Killer Moth. And Batman's kind of like, oh, so who are you? And she's just like, well, you tell me who you are, I'll tell you who I am. And then they kind of reach this impasse of neither of them knows who the other one is. So Batman has a Batgirl operating who he doesn't know the identity of. Which would be a thing that would actually go on in the 60s TV show as well, where Adam West never knew who, like, that it was Barbara Gordon. Although Alfred did. Which is kind of like a weird bit of synergy with this movie, because Alfred and Batgirl have been so closely connected. That was a big thing in the 60s TV show, that Alfred would help out Batgirl behind the scenes. Because he knew who she was. Yeah. But nobody else did. So it was kind of like, it's a nice little relationship they had going back then that they're kind of bringing in to this version here. But yeah, basically after that, in the comic, Barbara's just like enamored with this whole, like, that was such a thrill to be a superhero. I want to do that more. And so within 3 days, she modifies a motorbike. She creates herself a new, like, an even more enhanced Batgirl suit. Kind of does a few touch-ups on it to give it her own flair. Does a thing where she creates a reversible purse. So when she's going about in civilian life, it's just a purse. And then when she has to turn into Batgirl, she flips it inside out and it becomes a utility belt. Which is actually pretty nifty, to be fair. And much more convenient than what Batman's got going on a lot of the time. And yeah, at one point she comes around to Bruce Wayne's mansion to deliver like a really expensive book because she's a librarian. And Killer Moth's there again, and fights ensue. Batman and Robin were actually launching a sting operation that Batgirl interrupted, but so they're kind of tell her off a little bit, and then they go off in pursuit of Killer Moth. Batgirl follows them, discovers that they've got themselves captured in this gravity field that he's created, so they're just floating midair. And then, because she's a woman, obviously, Batgirl manages to defeat Killer Moth, who's hiding in the walls, because in their previous fight, she got a little bit of perfume on him. And so she can smell that perfume through the wall.
Oh.
And that's how Killer Moth is defeated. And then afterwards, Batman's like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, she's pretty good. Yeah, I don't mind if she sticks around and does some crime fighting with us.
Stick around, kid.
And then ironically, Jim Gordon's all like, Barbara, I wish you were more like this Batgirl woman. She's great. You're just a lousy brown belt in judo PhD.
Loser. Only losers have PhDs.
But yeah, they kind of keep the Killer Moth thing going. Like, he pops up a couple of times throughout as a Batgirl nemesis. And even in that Chuck Dixon Year One retelling, Killer Moth is the central villain again. So I'm kind of surprised it didn't, like, in the previous motorbike race way back, like, 30 minutes ago or whatever. They could have had, like, what you call him? Like, that guy Spike, who was a rival in the rival biker. Could have just made him, like, a moth-themed.
You could have had a moth helmet or something.
Yeah, moth helmet. Maybe he's got some weird wings.
Yeah.
Part of a moth gang. They had the freaking Clockwork Orange gang there, for Christ's sake. Do whatever you want with them. Make them Killer Moth. Go ahead. But
wouldn't have been any weirder than the others. So
yeah. I don't know that they're doing... Brendan Fraser's doing Firefly, who looks a bit like Killer Moth, but less stupid.
I only know Firefly from... He's in one of the games, isn't he?
Yeah, Arkham Origins. Great fight scene with him. It's like one of the highlights of that game. But yeah, Killer Moth... it seems like Brendan Fraser, he's playing Firefly, who's the main villain of this Batgirl movie we're getting. And I can't help but feel they're like, we could do Killer Moth, but he's stupid. But who has exactly the same the powers, but is cooler. And Firefly's like, yeah, he's not got the colors. He's essentially got the same outfit, and he can fly around. But instead of shooting goo, he shoots fire. That's way cooler. Let's put him in instead of Killer Moth.
And it's a better name.
Yeah.
Because it can be like an animal, but it also sounds kind of... Yeah, it's got fire in the name. That's kind of like, ooh.
Yeah. But that was the origin of Batgirl in the comics.
Yeah. That's interesting. Although I was making fun of the thong, right, I do appreciate, on many levels, the butt shot, the chest shot that we get, because I like how they aren't just doing it for her. We've already had these exact shots for the boys. Yep,
yeah. And Joel, he does make a point in the commentary of being like, this is what he deems to be feminism in action, essentially, where it's like, it's equality. Like, I'm treating her exactly the same way as I treated those guys.
I'll sexualize everyone.
And you do note, too, in the close-up of her chest, there is slight nipplage.
Oh, I don't know if it's slight.
Compared to Batman's.
Yeah. There's no, we call them areolas or anything, I don't think.
No, that's true. That's true. There is also not the same butt bounce that we get in the beginning either.
Yeah. He's restrained himself a little bit.
At least we had plenty of butt bounce, but they made it cut it out. And then there's like hashtag release the butt cut. Just goes.
Release the butt cut. Come on. The whole movie should just be jiggling rear ends.
No. It doesn't look like an outfit I'd ever... I know, John, you've done the Catwoman outfit, so you can attest to like how horrible squeezing into one of these suits would be.
Yeah.
But it's not a thing I would ever aspire to. Like, I don't know Like, Molly, have you ever tried like a Batman outfit at a costume party or anything? Or are you just like, no, dear God, I would never subject myself to that kind of squeezing into something like on that level?
I do enjoy a corset. Corsets can do magical things. But I've never done like a proper Catwoman, And honestly, I think John has probably done one of the best Catwomen that I've seen.
Oh,
like,
thank you.
No bullshit. Seriously. Like I still, this is actually kind of funny. So the boots that you're referring to, I had some internet issues with my phone and I was on Instagram and that was the picture like that would come up that would start the feed for
me.
Yes, of you for several hours in a row. So, and it was a really good picture of you. So I have that image of you with the thigh-high boots really seared in. So it's but it was a quality shot, honestly.
Thank you very much. The boots are surprisingly easy to move in because the heel's quite wide.
Oh yeah, yep.
It sort of flares out at the bottom. It's not a thin heel. But the getting in the outfit was fine. Because a restrictive outfit isn't as bad as it seems. It actually kind of I don't know. It gives you a kind of power. I don't know. You feel stronger and more compact, like corned beef. And I don't know. It kind of is a good thing, but the problem is getting it off. Because you've been out all night, you've been dancing. Let's be honest, you're sweating. Trying to peel the thing off took about 10 minutes. Like, jeez.
So I always remember one time seeing what's her face from Hayley Williams from Paramore, and she used to go around with like really tight like PVC trousers.
Oh yeah.
And I just remember seeing in some social media page like a shot of those trousers covered in talcum powder, dumped on the bathroom floor, and she's like, never to be worn again.
I had some PVC trousers when I was a teenager, but they weren't tight. They were like tight-ish,
I'm wondering though how much actual like consideration Alfred put into it, because like if you do a close-up of he's like, oh, I fixed something in your size. What he's got there is an outline of a female body, and then just Batman's outfit behind it, and then he's got a little like thing ticked. Basically, it goes from male, female, and that's all it did. It was just the same suit, but I just ticked female, and I guess it just sucks it in. Or
it's like when you're
whatever.
creating your character on a role-playing game, like on Final Fantasy. And you're just like Final Fantasy 14. You're like, I'll be the female. You just tick the box. Boop.
I do enjoy like the actual little outline he has. Does have the cowl, but I don't know if she was just like, it's kind of one of those things like where your parents want you to wear a coat that you don't want to wear. Or
I'm not wearing that.
Put on your helmet. Like, I don't want to wear a helmet. It's like, oh, here's your cowl. Like, I don't want a cowl. Come on, man.
That's old hat. Nobody wears a cowl these days.
Yeah. I was really weirded out as well, actually. Got a snippet of an interview with Alicia Silverstone promoting the movie. And, obviously we got a close-up of it here, like the domino mask that she puts on. And, just a la Robin. And it's, she's saying, like, they're asking, like, oh, have you ever been part of something that's had this much security? And she's like, no, not really. And it was a massive pain in the ass, because one day I arrived late on set wearing the mask, and the guy wouldn't let me in. And the security guy was just like, no, you need a pass. And she's like, I don't have a pass, but, like, it's me. I'm Batgirl. And he's like, oh, I don't have any. Like, no, I can't. Like, I'm just doing my job. I need to go. And she's like, I'm already late. Like, the producers are going to kill me. But I was just weirded out. I was like, did she put the mask on at home herself all the time? Like, did she do her own makeup back home?
Maybe she's trying to save time. Like when I'm going out with the band, I get ready at home, even though the other dancer doesn't. She likes to get ready at the venue. I'm like, well, I don't want to do that. I don't want to get ready in the bathroom of the venue.
this seems more like, because this is the Hollywood movie, though, that they'd be like, oh, no, we have our people. We want you to look the way we want you to look, but you can come in looking like whatever. And they're like, no, take that mask off. Now we got to redo all this. It doesn't look right and stuff. And again, because I guess she's like, she's still like a 19-year-old, girl. I'm sure she knows how to do her makeup and stuff, but it could be like, she might even, like, this will be like probably some sort of industrial, spirit gum that they use to stick the mask on. could she even safely use? Would they allow her to safely use that at home? Would it be like, oh no, you need a professional to
You
put
could
that on your
use
face?
that, but it is weird to me that they would let her do the rest of the makeup, like because she. Unless they gave it, like, here's the foundation and things.
Yeah.
Maybe they just want to touch up the lips and stuff. I don't know.
Unless they were just like on complete lockdown from that time that Sean Young showed up dressed as Catwoman to try to win over Tim Burton, and they're like, if some weirdo shows up in costume, do not let them in.
Sure. It turns out it was Sean Young, really.
Yeah, Sean Young was in the back of the car too. I'm here too. Hey Sean, get the hell out. Like, how many times we got to do this?
Every female character in the movie, Sean Young goes for it.
It's like, I could be Poison Ivy. You don't want me to be Poison Ivy? I can be Batgirl. You don't want me to be Batgirl? I can be Alfred. I can be Gossip Gertie. I can be whoever you want. Just let me in the movie.
Oh, I do feel bad for her. Yeah.
Oh, I infinitely feel bad for Sean Young. That's the happened to Defender again recently on the internet.
Oh, was it people going, oh, she's a weirdo?
No, I don't think I said I had to defend her. I chose to defend her when she came up. Because I was just like, yeah, that woman really got the raw end of the deal with I think it was all because the photo was brought up by Michael Uzlan, where it was a table read for the 89
and you could
Batman.
see her, yeah.
Yeah. But people then were saying, like, that's not Sean Young, because you could barely see her face. And apparently it was Sean Young took the photo. She was there, but she was the one taking the picture. Which actually kind of makes it sadder that she was, like, so excited that she's like, I'm taking this picture to, like, document this great moment of me getting to be in a Batman movie with all these people. And then it's just like, nope, horse injury, you're out. And you're never getting back in.
You think they would find something as a consolation? Like, we'll give... Yeah, Gossip Gertie, there you go. A recurring character, you can keep coming back. Yeah.
That's not... I have to insist. They're doing like 1 million of these animated movies now. Give her the role of Catwoman in one of them. Just like, you know... If they do an adaptation of Dark Victory, like we were talking about, you know, tragically the long lady, Nia Rivera, who did her voice for The Long Halloween, she died. Get Sean Young in to do the voice for the second one. You know, just let her in the movie, all right? Come on, man. But anyway. But yeah, so we do also get a second butt shot for Elisa Silverstone, though. Which was a little bit more like, oh, well, she has to have two. I don't know if that was the thing that went through Joe, like I said, but...
Maybe she wanted to, you know, like, hey, I want my butt to be the star.
Because, yeah, you get one, obviously, when she's doing the long boot zip-up. And then when we're getting the cape to flop down, you get another little shot of the butt. So,
it's quite a good-looking cape, that, actually. Because, you know, we usually criticize the capes in these films. I think that looks like quite a well-made cape. It's good material.
It's got that same effect I remember them talking about in the first movie, where they're like, yeah, it's textured to look like the wing of a bat.
Yeah, well, it's like leather, basically, isn't it?
Yeah, so I was like, oh, they actually made that level. They cared that much to do it as well here. But, like, to be fair, we've said it the whole movie, like, the costume department is not at fault in this film at all. Like, they were doing their jobs. Like, they did everything perfectly well. It's just that, like, yeah, a whole lot of other stuff was a bit haphazard in going forward, you know.
The only thing I can criticize in universe is that I've never liked her being Batgirl, because she hasn't got, like, a whole bat thing.
Yeah.
That's not her jam, you know.
It's. I guess it's just that she's like, you know, it's in honor of Batman.
Yeah, why doesn't she have her own weird animal fetish? You know, her own fursona. I
guess maybe it's just like to be like he's had this much of an impact that's like, you know, to take on the title is to show the good he's doing, that other people want to aspire to be a Batman. It's kind of like what they did in The Dark Knight when they had that Bat guy militia.
Yeah.
Although those guys are all kind of like, no, they're idiots. Whereas Batgirl's like, oh, she knows what she's doing, at least.
Well, she's got a brown belt.
Yeah.
But we do cut then to the city streets, and Dick has arrived at the makeshift Robin signal we talked about. I think this is an awesome shot of him in front of it. Like, this is one of the best shots of the movie from a filmmaking standpoint, where he's in silhouette. That is so cool. That'd be a really good still. That might be a good still for the episode if you don't want to use a butt.
Yeah. I'd make it even seedier now, though, if we do use the butt. It's like, yeah, we chose to use it. Now. There were other options, but we went for that butt.
Yeah, I mean, people wouldn't blame us if we did.
Yeah. It's such a perfect cutout, though. It's so beautifully done. It's like, I guess Ivy is getting all those costumes made as well. She's definitely got somebody who's gifted with their hands. Doing
artistic director of Ivy Inc. Yeah.
Still, maybe it could be that we had the whole thing last movie. Sugar and Spice were doing Two-Face's outfits for him. Could be like, hey, we got to make money somehow. So like, yeah, you a super villain? We can deck you out with an outfit. Don't you worry about it. We can give you like 10 outfits. It's what we do.
Yeah.
It's like, you want a Robin symbol? We can cut out a Robin symbol. Yeah, sure, fine.
Robin's a fool though, because this signal, it's right outside of the bathhouse, and I'm just thinking, don't go in for a steam. What are you doing? What are you doing? And he walks right in. He's falling into the trap, the Venus fly trap.
Yeah. Takes off his suit. He just goes in a towel. He's like, oh, it's not a bathhouse. Oh, God damn it.
I thought you were inviting me for a nice steam.
See, I have a question about that because, like, I just think about, here even in the pandemic where there's places where you used to go and then, you can't go for a while and you're like, well, things are better. Let me, go back to the Turkish bathhouse. And I just feel bad for the poor who comes in, who really enjoyed, the steam here and then finds this whole other, issue with Bane and wait, this is...
This is different. Something's changed.
Yeah.
The same guys like, first you tell me the Snowy Cones ice cream guys have been taken over by some freaky weirdo. Now I can't even go to the Turkish bathhouse. Like, what can I go to that's not been taken over by a villain?
There is 2 favorite things to do on a Saturday afternoon. Go and get an ice cream and go for a steam.
So if I'm going to somehow combine the two, eating the ice cream in the steam room, but I don't know. You need to make a special type of ice cream, I think, to be able to sustain its integrity for long enough.
Well, is it in Scandinavia where they do the sauna and then run out into the snow and jump in the icy water? I'm sure it's like I don't know, like Finland or somewhere like that, or Sweden or something.
Yeah, no, that's totally legit. Yeah, in Finland they do that. It's hydrotherapy. I mean, we have like hydrotherapy in naturopathic offices here too. It's the same principle of we'll heat you up and steam you up and then give you a cold shot. It's supposed to be really good for you, actually.
I've heard it's good for you and it's lovely, but it sounds horrifying just because I've never done it.
I never I always seen those things in people in chalets having like a jacuzzi outside. So it's like you're in extremely warm water out in the snow. And it's like, wouldn't that be like as soon as you get out, aren't you just going to be dying like instantly?
Apparently, that's what's good though, is the change. It doesn't sound good. It
Well,
does something for your skin though, I suppose, because you've opened your pores and then you want to close your pores again, right?
I think that sometimes this extreme cold is supposed to be really good. Like I know people advocate for obviously cold showers. It's supposed to be like a major health benefit. I know the comedian Josie Long used to go on constantly about like going for cold swims, which is go in the river. And it's like, oh, it was Arctic, horrible. Loved every second of it. Like, okay, man, but that could be the reason Mr. Freeze looks so good. It's just like, oh, the wonders that the cold's done for his pores.
But then Ivy's the opposite. She runs hot, and look at her.
Yeah. But yeah. So we get the. Oh, should mention as well because I don't know if it ever comes up again. Robin has his own theme now. This late into the game, that is like the Robin leitmotif, and I think that's like it's used like 3 times in the whole movie. I feel a bit bad because like they finally gave the guy his own theme. And again, at the end of the movie, when they're doing the that's the Batman theme. Should work in Robin's leitmotif.
Yeah.
So it's the Batman and Robin theme. The guys are together as a solid team now.
Well, that's more proof that I think they were fully planning another movie. It's like, well, we've got the music now.
But so it is all kind of like, now Robin, he's striking out his own. He's got his own leitmotif, and then it's kind of like, but he's being an idiot is the thing. So, and then also in the animated series, Robin never had his own leitmotif, but Batgirl did. Even though she was only in like a handful of episodes, but she had a distinctly Batgirl theme that Robin just never got one because like he's just Batman's side guy. Like he didn't deserve his own theme. But now it would go into the bathhouse
with Ivy's Ivy.
House.
I wrote it as Bat House by mistake in my notes.
Oh, nice.
It's underlined in Word going, that's not a word.
But yeah, I guess that's all the notes I got for 97. I don't know if anyone else has any more points they want to bring up or anything. But
my only thing I didn't bring up before was, how did Alfred get her size? Did he go through her bags? Did he look at her cardigans? What's he done?
He's just an expert. This is the same way he did with Dick Grayson. He just you just see there's a scene of him just like looking down his glasses at people like, you look like 38.
Yeah, I do get the impression Alfred maybe used to be like he used to work in a Savile Row tailor. Doing your inseam.
That would make more sense than like, the military background has kind of become his default, backdrop now. It was like, yeah, it's like, because, if you're working in Savile Row, you'd also know how to stitch up wounds because you're good with a needle, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can apply both.
I think that makes more sense. And it fits this Alfred, the very posh Alfred. Like that, this Alfred has never had anything to do with the military. I mean, I suppose the military officers can be quite posh, but it never portrays him as an officer, does it? He's always like a on-the-ground kind of guy.
I think he's always like a medic or something like that, yeah. But, I would like the idea if he was chased off Savile Row because he was obsessed with rubber. He just kept pitching like rubber waistcoats and rubber cravats and things like that.
He really got into Vivienne Westwood's sex shop. Yeah. When they were doing all the rubber for the Sex Pistols and stuff, he was like, this is fantastic.
Yeah, they chase him off to the States. The only job he could get was butling for the Waynes. Thomas Wayne loved his rubber. He's like, you gotta give me a whole rubber suit one time. It was fantastic.
If there's one thing to take away from this episode, listeners, it's Thomas Wayne loved his rubber.
Oh, wow.
But
it's like one of the flashbacks then to the Wayne murders. It's just like Joe Chill, whoever's like, is that a rubber suit you're wearing? Yeah, I know a guy. Like, he also steals Alfred's card after he takes the pearls and stuff.
I'll hit this dude.
Keep him in business at least.
Got to do one nice thing for the family after you've murdered the head, but we will head off into the dark, dark night. Molly, would you like to promote anything or say where you can be found online or anything you like? You don't even have to.
Sure. Well, you can follow me on Twitter at Dharma Soda Pop. I'm also producing a Dharma podcast right now called WednesdayWakeUp.com. So if anybody is interested in Buddhism, psychology, that type of thing, self-helpy stuff, it's WednesdayWakeUp.com.
Hey, well, nice. Check that out, everybody. And as usual, we're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Just look us up, Batminute. And why not go to the Sleepy Charlie Media TeePublic and buy wonderful merchandise of our beautiful cartoon faces. And more. We should have cartoon butts. Butts and nips.
Should we do like a series of Batminute trousers that are just all splayed over the butt the whole time?
Yeah. I'm on board.
We'll just have in the Batman Forever font butt shot written over the ass of the trousers.
And if you pay us enough, we can get you a suit made on Savile Row in London. A special custom suit. Yeah, it'd be lovely. In rubber only. And we'll be back on Wednesday with more exciting Bat-Minute action.
Next time, Jungle of Oyo. Entering into an eerie arboretum, an adventurous adolescent leers at Ivy's Lady Garden of Eden. The pernicious Empress of Petals appears poised to be plucked. But as she brings a pheromone-frenzied crime fighter to his knees, can he survive a practical lesson on the birds and the bees? Our orchard is open again on Odin's Day for all your oral fixations, luscious listeners. Same bat pod, different bat minutes.
We'll be back.